Today's episode is going to be in a different format because I wanted to give myself time to talk about the recent release of Sega Football Club Champions. It's been 2.5 weeks now since the game launched, and we all now have a better understanding of what the game actually is. You see, because most of the marketing material was in Japanese, we didn't have a good way of piecing together exactly what the game was going to be like when we got it. We just had to dive in and find out for ourselves, and now that I've played it, I can say that it is a gacha game first and a football manager second. So accordingly, I should judge it on two standards: first as a manager game and second as a gacha. As a football manager game, it is shallow, though I will give it some credit. All of the core features of a manager type game are here. You've got financial management, morale management, transfers in and outs, random events and missions can happen. It's not just mindless number go up type gameplay. Nonetheless, it doesn't have the depth that you would expect a premium manager game experience to have. So it is a case of you get what you pay for. So it is a free game, and it falls short of what the premium games in this genre could offer, the ones you pay for up front. If I was to suggest such a game, aside from the obvious Football Manager, with the caveat that people didn't really like 2026, I would actually vouch for Football Tactics and Glory, because I showed it off on this channel, and the version I showed was simplistic, but there has been 2 DLC expansions since then that added a lot of fun complexity to the game, and there may even be a 3rd DLC to make up for the fact that World has been in development hell. Or even this game I'm playing right now, Let's Make a Soccer Team. A lot of interesting mechanics in this one, and I still argue to this day that it got an extremely unfair rap from the West. 2 professional reviewers gave it a 1 out of 5, but their reviews read more like something you just see as a troll post on a message board than a well-respected publication. I shall now take a break from talking about Sega FCC because there is an important moment in this video that must be commentated in the moment rather than after the fact. Yes, here's Lorenzo Dork and his smug face again. We still hold a narrow advantage in the derby itself, even though ours has been better in the league. This is a bit of a risky lineup from me, not because of the talent. This is basically the best 11 I can put out for the match, but Marshall is the captain when the only 3 players I've got that can do captaincy adequately are Kosaka, Hafez, and Lindpatner. I don't think it'll be a big problem in a one-off match, but that mechanic is something you have to consider over a season-long campaign, because a lot of players in this game don't end up making for good captains. Only a few can handle the role well. Oh, wait, why is that a penalty? The ball was already out. That is not fair. I was going to say, before we got screwed by a sweaty goal, that our team had played a really good half. A bit unlucky not to be ahead at that point of the game. We're still looking good for a potential equaliser at some point. Ludwig gets it! And after that, I'm suddenly thinking we can win this game. We're going to cross the play back to Kosaka. Smothered cross. I was expecting that to be it, but he's actually allowed it to continue, and we've managed to, in the 100th minute or so, win with Helmersberger's first goal of the season. But the ref hasn't called it, and in fact, he still hasn't blown the whistle. I thought we were done. We are now, though, after the throw-in, and we win 2 games in a row for what I think is the first time this season. Extremely happy with that outcome, because there's actually still a chance that we can finish top half the table this season. Everyone is clumped together. I would have loved to have taken Jan, but his policy is completely opposite to ours, and I still need another youth goalkeeper because we still only have 1 in there. And with that, post-commentary me returns. So if Sega Football Club Champions is a little bit shallow as a manager, what about as a gacha game? On that front, I think it fares better, even though the Steam ratings for the game are in the toilet right now. You see, I think the target demographic for Football Manager games is quite jaded when it comes to freemium games. They're not the sort of crowd that buys into EAFC each year and its over-focus in Ultimate Team. In fact, I think the only demographic that has wholeheartedly embraced gacha-type games is the greater otaku sphere. Think Hoyoverse, think Uma Musume, etc. Nonetheless, there is an audience that will approach this type of game with an open mind because, well, it's free and the gacha monetization is just the price we pay for it to remain free. The game was actually doing pretty good numbers throughout January, slowly creeping up to a 5-digit peak player count, and whilst it has since fallen off, this is just the natural life cycle of most games, especially ones with no upfront payment. Even the aforementioned Uma Musume now regularly only sees a fraction of its peak player base on that day that everyone logged in to pull for. But I know that popular doesn't always mean good. There are a lot of sports games out there right now that are popular not because they're any good, but because they're the only game you can play for that particular sport. On this front, however, I can say that Sega FCC, for a gacha game, is solid. I've certainly seen a lot worse. Hot take, Princess Connect. I remember when the global version of that was released and HoloLive was doing sponsored streams. I watched through Kiara's entire stream and I think, well, where's the gameplay? Because all I saw in what she showed of it was a basic auto battler that had almost no confidence in its ability to engage the player beyond the simple thrill of number go up. In fairness, sports manager type games are really just auto battlers when you think about it, but the difference is they make the player more involved in decisions leading up to the auto battle, and then each auto battle feels like it has more weight attached because it has a greater impact on the league or cup that it's attached to. And this is one thing that Sega FCC gets very right. It fully simulates not just the league and cup for the nation you're in, but for every other nation in the game world too. And once you qualify, your continental competitions too. If you're playing the game casually, taking it slow, you can definitely immerse yourself into the game world, much like I try to immerse myself into Let's Make a Soccer Team's game world in this playthrough. And like I said before, it's never going to be as deep or immersive as a Football Manager, or We Are Football, or even a previous SakaTsuku game when they were still releasing them on consoles. But when you consider where mobile gachas were in the 2010s compared to now, the difference is night and day. There's 2 more uncommentated matches before live commentary takes over for the rest of the episode, so here's a couple of closing thoughts. The first is that Sega admitted to using AI during the development process of Sega Football Club Champions, which has made me suspicious about the assets used in the game. I haven't found anything glaringly obvious like there was in Call of Duty Black Ops 7, for example, but we think one of the background images might be AI, and the fact we're even questioning this is unfortunate. By we, I mean it was something Nexus Draco pointed out to me, that there was a car in one of the backgrounds that had a very suspicious looking license plate, but it's not proof because there are other reasons why a developer might want to fudge a license plate like that. But this brings me to point number 2. Myself and Nexus Draco, we were on a lot of hopium actually that with Football Manager faltering, this could be the revival for SakaTsuku, but I think we have to come to terms with the fact that Sega's not going to allow another franchise to directly compete against their own Football Manager, and this mobile-centric title is just what the SakaTsuku franchise is now. Or at least for now. And speaking of for now, I return you to live commentary for a cup final versus Chievo Verona, where we're playing not just for money, but for a lot of money. Geeson not good on his return for an injury. Probably should have smothered that. Then again, the defense could have been stronger by not leaving the ball out on an island in the first place. Binns' last touch was too heavy there. Depending on when you got into football, you might not recognize who Chievo Verona are. They were a Serie A club back when this game was made. What happened to them was that they bounced between Serie A and B for a bit, but then they ran into financial trouble and the team folded. There's a Phoenix club now in Serie D. I'm not sure if it's still technically called a Phoenix club if they're the same club. Beckerath equalizes. Actually had to check on Wikipedia. Yes, they are a Phoenix club, and for their first couple of seasons of existence, they didn't go under Chievo Verona. They eventually acquired the rights to use the name again. We're going the full 120 in this cup for the couplers. 3 kick from Bins. Oh, that was a good play. Oh, but Kasaka has missed an open net. Last chance before we go to penalties, it would seem. I don't like those short corners. They never seem to work. But we still have the ball, and we did nothing with it. So I already know who my 5 kickers are going to be. Oh, and the first miss goes to Amauri. Oh, but Beckerath can't capitalize. That was a terrible kick. That's a good save from Geeson. It leaves Schenk, who is okay in penalties. Not the best under pressure. But he does collect that one, and we have the cup. And we actually get a celebration for this one. I don't think we received one for the other competitions, but this one important enough to actually have a trophy. And the impact on our financial results will be substantial. 3.75 million, which is one of the biggest prizes we've received for a tournament so far. I'm going to keep chucking some of this money back into the Oceania foreign branch. And then once I get that to level 2, that's when I'll think about putting up my second base. Last game of the episode is against Bielefeld, and I also always see these matches against the yo-yo clubs as a good chance to pick up 3 points. We'll have to wait and see if that actually comes to fruition. Just like that. Right away, Ryan is in on goal. Oh, but Ryan touched it. Oh, that wasn't offside, and they've scored instead. I could have sworn we'd otherwise played a better first half of football, but when I looked at the stats, Bielefeld had more possession and same shots on target 1-1. Well, Beinel just came in and he scores immediately. That's actually his first league goal of the season, and it might give him the confidence to go for another one while he's fresh. Alas, I had all of this hope, and we can't seem to get the ball down the other end. And, oh, what are you doing, Geeson? You rushed out for it, and then you just didn't grab it. Oh, well, we do clear it out. And that match honestly sums up our season, where we've had a lot of games where neither team was dominant enough to deserve the win, which is why we've got so many more draws than any other team in the league. And are sitting mid-table with a chance to get up to 9th, but that loss us Leipzig took against us seems to have lit a fire underneath them. They're right back in the Intertoto spots. So to summarize, a very successful episode. March was easily the best month we've had since our Division 2 days. A bit of a fall off in April, but I'm really happy we've got that cup.